In approximately 1 month's time, we acknowledge International Women's Day. And I use the word acknowledge rather than celebrate deliberately, because with the release of the Veritas Solutions report, there doesn't appear to be any cause to celebrate for the women of this city. For those of you that don't know its history, International Women's Day first began to draw attention to the unfair working conditions and unequal rights of women of that time. Now I'm going to repeat that because it deserves repeating. Unfair working conditions, unequal rights. Over 100 years later, and this is still where we are at this very time, in this very place, in this very community, in this very room. Unfair, unequal, unheard, and unsafe. Doesn't that exhaust you? Because it exhausts me. It exhausts me that I have to come forward and argue that women are actual people, deserving of the same treatment and respect as our male counterparts. People, not liars, to be publicly disbelieved and discredited. Not as troublemakers out to cause problems for upstanding male friends and colleagues. Not as inconveniences that get in the way of important work, like building fire halls and golf courses. People, we are actual people. Now, I'm neither stupid nor naive. I understand that not every side of this particular story has been shared, as you just alluded to, and that everyone's hands are tied by impeding the legal process. But what that excuse, which I've heard paraded out tonight and on multiple occasions, fails to address is why council for 1 full year sought to suppress a report that they themselves commissioned. And to me, that's where the argument of our community not having heard all sides dies a flaming and permanent death. Because it was the people you hired and you paid for that told us all how totally and epically this city failed women under its care. So this is not about he said, she said. This is not only one side of the story. This is your own consultants telling you that you were in the wrong. There are no biases and no misinterpretations of fact here. We were told clearly and plainly by Veritas Solutions, again, the people this city bought and paid for, that they were in the wrong and continue to be in the wrong. And then in the face of such serious revelations, the choice was then made to do nothing. In all my years, I can't name a single instance when an organization paid thousands and thousands of dollars, tax dollars, for information that they then did absolutely nothing about for months. This is the real world equivalent of going to a doctor, getting a serious diagnosis, and then casually and politely thanking them for their time without bothering to ask what they might suggest you do about the gaping and bleeding wound they discovered. Now at this point, I would ask what people who made this decision were thinking, but I'm scared the honest answer would be, we were saving ourselves. I can't say who in this room knew what and when they knew it. Only you can answer that for yourselves, and you're accountable to yourselves for that. But at this point, we all know, and we are all now accountable for that information. Sometimes doing the right thing costs us, but that is an invalid excuse not to do it. Now, it might seem that my goal in all this is to shame and embarrass, and that isn't actually my purpose today, though there should certainly be enough of that to go around. Instead, I'd like to impress upon you the consequences of these actions based on 20 years experience working with people and in the community in social services. And that is when you don't believe people, when you don't listen to them, when you belittle their feelings and experiences, when you attempt to hide and deny the truths, you hurt them and you change them. You can't stand up in a room full of people and publicly discredit and humiliate someone, and that is exactly what happened on numerous occasions, and expect your words and actions not to have a lasting impact, not just on the people, but on the community itself. I don't know these women in any capacity, yet still, how am I now supposed to go to work every day and convince the girls in my care that this city cares about them in the same manner that it cares about their male peers? How am I supposed to gather the energy every day to work towards the good of a community that doesn't do the same in return for women like me? The deliberate and systematic assault, intimidation, harassment, and treatment of women that has been allowed to flourish for years in this city has taken something from every one of us. From me personally, it has taken away my belief that this community is a kind, fair, and honorable place, and someone owes me that back. I know speaking here today will likely cost me personally and professionally. I have hundreds of pages of documents backing up the fact that when women speak up in this community, they are made to pay for it. I am not, after all, made of Teflon. But I am also not afraid, nor intimidated, nor particularly impressed by the efforts of those who wish to make all of this go away. This is a mess. I know the people in this room weren't necessarily responsible for creating this mess, but you are responsible for cleaning it up. And it's my expectation that it's going to be done honorably, it's going to be done fairly. It's not going to be done with thought to what's easiest or what's politically savvy or what the bare minimum legally is required. I expect that this community will do right.
Thank you for your comments. Next.